So this is going to be a little bit of a longer video, but it's integral to know if you want to be able to kind of scale meta ads without your CPA rising with it. So I'll see a lot of Shopify stores, they kind of come on and work with us, but they kind of say, oh, we get to a point where we're scaling to like 2K per day, but then costs rise. So we need to bring it down. And they never seem to get to a point where they can really achieve that, hitting that ceiling, basically. So I'm going to genuinely tell you how to basically 10x your budget, but the CPAs stay the same. You can see this in this graph. I kindly borrowed this from one of our persons in my network. I'll kind of tag him as well, but it sums it up perfectly of someone who does big cap, basically. So you can see here the CPA is consistent. This is the perfect scenario. If we know what the CPA is, like for example, this is $24, and we know that we can increase the ad spend, this means that we're leveraging a safety net. It means that we can confidently increase the budget quickly, and just the possibilities are endless. We need to understand this, basically. And I want you to stick around till the end of the video, because I literally have created, it took me quite a while to create this, but a step-by-step guide. I found my team at Nurturely, test super tons of creative. I'll give you the exact campaign setup, what to do on each ad set, watch campaign. I'll find that ad spends that I've basically going to be spending in full. That didn't make much sense, but we'll keep going. But yeah, it's basically like the start to finish Miro board of how we set up accounts. Why you should listen to me? Well, you don't need to in the first place, but I've managed over 230 client accounts, currently spending nearly 300K per month with some of our clients, spend around about 10 million on ads. It's a little bit more than what my bio says right now. But yeah, I've got a ton of experience working with many different flagship clients such as BMW, McDonald's, Harley Davidson. So yeah, I've kind of come into the world of paid ads, and I want to basically just show you how I've kind of got to a point in my 9th year of running ads, basically. So I've got a little bit of a video in here. This is going to be obviously access to you. You probably read through this right now, but what I want to kind of show you is the full spec of it. I want to show you how to successfully run ads. I know it's 2024 is super competitive. Ads are getting more expensive. And I want to genuinely show you how to set up ads so they only spend if they're winners. I want to show you how to 10x your daily ad spend without blowing your CPA, which is a little bit like this. And I basically want to show you how to make the quick decisions at scale. I've got a little bit of a decision tree, and just like a bonus at the end, how to get more volume of creative as well. So the first thing that we're going to kind of show you, this is not going to be relevant, or it's not going to be clear at all without telling you how we do this. So there's a thing called bid caps with Facebook ads. There's basically a feature that isn't the default setting. The default setting is highest volume, or it's also called lowest cost, where this basically tells you, you're going to tell Facebook, here's $200 a day, spend it all, regardless of sales. This is actually a very, very different way to do it. You tell Facebook what your cap is of a cost per sale. So like, what is the highest you want us to basically spend for a purchase, and it'll spend no more than $40. It's a little bit like eBay when you have like a cap of, you want to buy some trainers. You're basically going to put in your highest offer. You're going to say, right, there's $100. I'm not going to spend any more. Don't go any further if I can't get the trainers. So yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of a look at it. I'm going to show you at the end how to set this up, but you can see here, highest volume is like the default setting. That's if you leave it and Facebook doesn't do anything. You're basically the default setting. Cost per results, very similar to big cap. That's a little bit of a different video. I'm going to go to big cap. So this is as I said before, you set your highest bid basically. So I'm just going to reiterate that. Traditional ads are lowest cost or the highest volume, the default setting. So I'm just going back to what I started in this video, why it's important to use big caps. I use it for all of my client accounts. Like, I'm such a convert. I have a lot of clients that want to still maintain lowest cost for good reasons, but I'm just such an advocate of it because I can just see it account for account why it's working super well. And I do it for my own ads. I do a lot of affiliate offers. I do some ads ironically for these type of lead magnets to get clients such as you. So yeah, the problem you've seen is like CPAs rise as your ad spend rises. It's very natural to do this because there's a law of diminishing returns. If you're spending more to reach more people, that inadvertently means that you're seeing people that don't want it as well. Like at the end of the day, at a lower spend, Facebook gives you like the easiest customers. It's quite easy to get sales at like $20 per day in relation to like 2,000 per day. So you start reaching people who are in the wider market who weren't actually interested in you. They're maybe a little bit less convinced. So if you're reaching more people that don't want your goods or your product, that means that ad costs rise because they aren't giving you any money back. And it's the same with like audience exhaustion as well. If the same people keep seeing your ads, they're going to start ignoring them as well. So you need to kind of show more ads to get the same results, which costs more. Like you've obviously seen, maybe if you're spending maybe 1,000 or above a day, that like the same ads get exhausted pretty quickly. That's because like when there's more spend on it, like people get like the people that see the ads are more frequent basically. So yeah, lowest ads can't prevent the rise in CPA, unfortunately. So this makes lowest cost ads a problem. When you toggle lowest cost ads, you know for a fact that the CPA will rise if you increase the budget and you don't do anything about creative fatigue. You don't try and horizontally focus on it. So you're always trying to like dictate the pattern basically. If your CPA rises, you have to bring down the spend. And if it goes any better, you have to increase the spend. So you're very much at second fiddle to ads basically. So the problem with this is that they spend even if they can't find any sales. So if you've got a very rigid budget, for example, I keep doing $200 per day, Facebook's going to basically just spend that anyway. Like demand isn't the same every day. Like you might see like patterns of a specific day that get a lot more a lot more sales, but Facebook's going to basically spend anything. Like it's going to spend if there's no sales, it's going to spend if there is sales. So with bid cap, on a good day, spend is planned. So you're going to get sales and you're going to get within your realm of cost per acquisition that you're happy with. But on a bad day, if there's completely no one in demand for your product, it's actually not going to spend. So that means the CPA stays the same. It just means the constant is performance, not spend. And yeah, going back to that, good day with lowest cost, spend is planned, but a bad day is like it's going to spend without sales, basically. So just basically going back to this, how it solves it. So big caps control the flow of ad budget to a campaign, and it can help you to fix your cost per sale. So what I like to say is it can be your sole strategy, or it can complement your existing strategy. So you might feel like super intimidated. You might be running a lot of spend already, and you think, right, I can't just convert that strictly, basically. We can basically just use it with a similar strategy, and it can be maybe 10% of your budget. So yeah, with this in mind, you can 10x your ad budget whilst keeping your cost per sale the same. So this is probably a scenario that you've seen if you've run any volume with ads, basically. So the common scenario that is that all brands face regardless of revenue. So this is probably on a little bit of a conservative figure, but I've probably done around about 250 accounts that I've audited, but over 90% of the accounts have a lot of ads that are overspending without any ROI. So this is actually one of the accounts that we saw before running. Like this had a load of different problems with it. There was the wrong optimization. They weren't optimizing for sales, but they were spending regardless of return. So like every dollar that they put in, they were getting 10 cents back. You might argue that they weren't going for this, but looking at the client, they were actually genuinely thinking that they were getting returns, basically. So this comes to the first problem, that most ads fail. And this is it's a bit US based, so forgive me if I'm butchering this, but yeah, good performing ads are like MVP players. Like they basically are the things that are propping up your campaigns. Like these are the reasons that they bring in purchases at a profitable CPA. But the problem is like the few and far between. You probably see in your ad account that this might be like 10 good ads that are propping up like 150 that aren't. And this is what gets you like a modest ROAS, basically. So so a problem with this is that without cost controls, Meta will redistribute your budget evenly, even to these losers. You might think that CBO has a little bit of an element in that, which is fine. It does allocate some of the best performance. But again, if it can't find sales, it's still going to go to the second worst one, basically. So yeah, I keep reiterating this point and apologize if it's very repetitive, but it's super important to know. Bid caps keep you in line with your CPA target. But going back to the analogy, if you want nothing above $50, it won't spend. And it's a little bit like a safety net. It stops like bad ads performing. You're only telling Meta to only spend if it can forecast a sale. So we're going to go to this analogy again. I only want you to spend my money if you can get me profitable sales. What it'll look like is, for example, if we have like a CBO campaign, we got 4 different ad sets with 5 different ads. It might have one winner here that might spend $500 of a $2,500 a day. It might have a winner here. It might spend a little bit of that proportion. And then you can see here, there might be completely no winners in these ads. And that'll not spend the budget. So you might be wondering, okay, right, we've got a $2,500 per day budget, but it's only spent $800 here. So that's another thing that you need to know. Like, it's not going to spend that full budget if it doesn't think it can get results. So this is why you need loads of different ads and ad sets to make bid caps work, because it's not going to work without a lot of creative volume. You're not going to get this results basically. So yeah, this is kind of it. Like traditional ads, like it'll spend the same amount of money every day, no matter what. You kind of just getting results no matter what, basically. You're getting sales no matter what. So this is kind of what you need to do. You need to really scale creative fast with bid caps. Bid caps allow you to launch as many creatives as possible because it's risk-free. Like the good creatives spend, the bad creatives don't, basically. You never need to turn off an ad as well, because what this means is like the constant becomes performance and the variable becomes spend. So naturally we prefer performance to be the constant rather than the spend, because this means that some days it might get a little bit of results and then therefore it'll spend, but might not, basically. So you're not constantly in the ad account looking for things to turn off and etc. So you might be wondering, okay, this is all theory. So how do we set this up? So I'm just going to go through the slides here. It's really, really simple to kind of go through, but we're going to make one campaign per offer you run. So this is really important. If you've got like loads of different offers or loads of different product lines in each campaign, it's going to be hard for Facebook to like work out what is needed. So for example, we can go down to like one product here. I'm going to create one campaign per product. We're going to go to create new in the ad account. We're going to go to buying type auction. We're going to go to sales. We're going to basically toggle Advantage campaign budget on. So this is basically just going back to the campaign setup. We're going to click create. I'm going to click daily budget and we're going to put in whatever we want. I normally basically focus on 10 to 20x my target CPA. So if it's basically my CPA I want is anything under £50, I'm going to put my budget at £1,000. This doesn't mean that it's going to spend a full 1,000. It's probably not going to spend maybe 20% of that to begin with, because it's only going to spend on anything that's a winner. And as I said before, we're going to go down just under CBO. We're going to go down to the highest volume. I'm going to go other options. We're going to go bid cap. So that's super important. That's still in the campaign section. And we're going to create the ad sets. So I'm going to go through this and just do it for you with you. So here it is again, new sales campaign, really, really easy. We're going to go to sales, as I set up before. We're going to go to Advantage campaign. We're going to go to 1,000. And then we're going to go to a big cap of £50. So everything that you need to do is like name the naming conventions. We're going to go to website here. We're going to go to the pixel. It can be any pixel. This is just a random account setup. And we're going to go back here, sorry. We're going to go to campaign bid strategy. We're going to click edit. We're going to click bid cap, basically. So everything else is left to consideration. I don't know what your best performing your audiences are. It could be broad, it could be whatnot. But you want to basically give it the best chance of performance. You could basically give it like a lookalike, or you input your locations as normal. Have the bid control 50 in this example, and then that basically you're good to go. So everything else that I mentioned, ad strategy and things like that, that's going to be very much open to your interpretation, what creatives are working, things like that. That's for another video. This is basically to set up the ad campaign strategy and the structure. So another thing that we need to look at as well is we need to choose the attribution window. Use 1 day click, 1 day view if it has a short consideration cycle. So this basically means if you're selling something that is very impulsive, it could be like a pair of sunglasses under $50, for example, doesn't need a lot of consideration, whereas maybe if it's 7-day, it's a little bit of a longer cycle. I've seen really, really good ways with 1-day click, 1-day view at the minute. So we go here, hide options. Sorry, I believe it's in this section now. Yeah, I couldn't find it all of a sudden. But yeah, we go to under the big control. We'll put 50 in, and then we'll click attribution settings. So if you want it to be 1 day, I recommend this to start. Do view through as none to click through. And then, yeah. So that's kind of like how to set it up. It can be very, very similar to what you normally do in terms of ad strategy, but that's how to move to big cap basically. So basically, I'm going to show you how to do this really, really simply, but I'm going to show you like exactly what it looks like and how we assess basically. So what we want to do is we want to basically create 5 ads or fewer per ad set. So it just gives it a good understanding. This is when we were doing some offers for Joe Rogan's Alpha Brain, doing 5 images here. And we're basically going to group depending on the ad types. So it could be video, it could be image. And what we're going to do is after a while, once they're set up, we need to assess the ads and launch a new creative basically. So this is an example if you set up Big Cap and it's not working. We basically used this. We basically created 5 ads and we only got like 1 impression for the full time. This is basically saying, Meta's saying, like these ads aren't good enough at your specific cost that you're trying to do. So without going and increasing the bid, what we need to do is we need to try and just basically find out why it's not working. So it just basically said like these ads weren't good enough to warrant any spend. So what to do if the ads don't spend? If an ad doesn't get any spend, this is the end of the test basically. You need to be